Last fall, I was preparing to do a gig and my Ampeg PF500 died during sound check. This guy. In a stroke of good luck, my friend Candido has this exact same head, so for the gig the next day, he let me borrow his. And as luck would have it, or misfortune would have it, his also died during sound check. By some strange cosmic coincidence, both of our amps died in the space of 24 hours. I kind of felt like that guy in Holy Grail who kept building castles in the swamp.
So I built a third one. That burned down, fell over, then sank into the swamp.
It was a very, very sad pair of deaths, and for a working musician like myself, it meant that I needed to get a new amp quickly. What I found on Facebook Marketplace was this. A used Fender Rumble 500. I figured this would be a good temporary replacement until I could get my Ampeg head fixed. That was almost a year ago, and I'm still using this amp for every rehearsal, every gig, every home practice session. And my Ampeg is still just sitting here broken. So what makes the Rumble so good? Gather around, children, as a Fender fanboy tells you why the Rumble 500 may be the best combo amp you can buy. Bass player out of Salt Lake City, and if you like bass covers, gear demos, and just following around a working musician as he tries to make ends meet by playing music, then consider subscribing to my channel, or following me on Instagram, or both. Both is good. So when it comes to gear, it's rare that you'll find something that does everything well. Often you'll have to compromise on something, whether that's power or price or weight or tone, something has to give. When I was gigging with this Ampeg, I absolutely loved the way it sounded, and I got this pretty cheap. But when you have a separate amp and cabinet, it means that you have a lot of weight to carry around. My 210 weighs about 60 pounds and my 410 weighs 80 pounds. And this is a minor thing, but there's also just an extra step in setting up when you have separate amp and cabinet. And because of that, I almost never set it up at home to do practice. When my Ampeg kicked the bucket, I knew I wanted something that would simplify my life. I started looking at combo amps, and there are a lot of them out there. You've got Mark Bass, GK, Ampeg, Orange, Peavey, Ashdown, Laney. Wait, does anybody actually play Laney? I swear I've never seen a Laney amp out in the wild. Anyway, the point is that there are plenty of options for combo amps out there that are loud enough to play a rehearsal or a gig without a PA and be light enough to carry one-handed. What I found on the local used market was this guy, a used Fender Rumble 500, which has two 10-inch speakers, built-in XLR out, headphone jack and aux in for quiet rehearsal, and this thing only weighs 36.5 pounds. And no joke, I bought this thing for $300. This amp just seems designed for the working musician. It's just so easy to throw it in your car, load it into wherever, plug in and play. It's got everything you need and only a couple things that you don't. For example, like this whole area here. I have no idea who uses this stuff. Also, I feel like effects loops are really pointless on bass, but that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm just way too traditional. There is actually one thing on this amp that I haven't tested out yet, but I would like to, and that's the extension cabinet port. But the reason why I haven't used it yet is because I have yet to encounter a situation where this thing wasn't loud enough to do the job. With 210s and 500 watts, this thing wiggles plenty of air, but it's cool to have the option for an extra cabinet if you need. I did mention earlier that I do love the Ampeg sound, and it is distinctly different from the Fender. Side by side, I definitely prefer the Ampeg, but fortunately, the Fender amp takes pedals incredibly well. I have a Tech 21 VT bass pedal that pretty much just stays on all the time, and it gives me the Ampeg sound that I'm after. I have had a couple of gigs over the summer where my pedal board has failed due to heat, and then I've just had to use the amp by itself, and I've still been able to get good sound out of it. I recently started using this thing just for home rehearsal, and I've really enjoyed it. I can just plug in some headphones and my iPhone and practice quietly, much to the relief of my neighbors and my girlfriend. Also, don't you think it looks so nice? I think it's a good looking amp for sure. So other than a few features that I don't personally use, I really feel like this amp is perfect for me. It sounds great, it's easy to haul around, it fits into every situation I find myself in, and I picked it up for only $300. I mean, I was kind of a Fender fanboy before, but this has kind of solidified that for me. For what I do, I really don't feel like I'm having to compromise on anything, and that's a really good feeling. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I think the Fender amp is probably the best amp that you can buy if you're just a casual working musician like myself. But what amps do you think might do the job better? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're not already subscribed, why the heck not? It's just a button you click, and then you get to see all my videos. Just click the button. If you're already subscribed, you're awesome. Why don't you click the like button instead of the sub button this time? So if you've ever wanted to support my channel, I do have a merch store. You can click down in the description link below where I've got t-shirts and hoodies that are really, really cool, and I would love you if you bought one. Thanks again for watching my video. I'll see you on the next one.